Hello, Sanford, and welcome to the Sanford Sports Radio. You are listening to The Howler here. I'm your host, Jonathan West. We're going to talk everything Sanford College football here today as the Coyotes are 0-3. They are 0-3, and personally, I think they could be 3-0 with the way they've played this season. Every game has been a close, hard-fought matchup. So I'd say they're 0-3 as much as they could be 3-3 at this point in the season. Now, with all the situations that have taken place, there have been cries starting to come from both fans outside of the school and kids in the school of screaming for true freshman quarterback Tanner Patrick. I actually talked to Coach Wolf. I got a little bit of talk with him to ask him about that, and well, he kind of said that he doesn't want to make a change right now. He did state that during the open practice next week that he's going to give to the public, right before the MAC conference game, both quarterbacks will get time with the starters. However, he says he doesn't want to make the change until getting a better look at Patrick with the first teamers. So I guess we'll find out maybe next week if Tanner Patrick will be the starter. As talking recruiting now, it's been more the same for the most part with the Coyotes in the recruiting battle. There have been a couple of players who have dropped off the top 10 and a couple that have bounced their way in. Tyrese Baker, the quarterback, is one of them, as well as Johnson Wedeba, the running back, who is looking to the way of North Texas. But the Coyotes would love to have him as a kind of scat-type speed back in this offense. They really could use an extra boost of speed in that running back core, that is for certain. So now we move on to this week in Georgia State. It's time to hashtag defend the den, and this time they've got to get the job done. They can't start off 0-4 and get ready to go into MAC conference play. That brings the morale down entirely for this team. They have to walk in to the Sanford City Stadium. They got to walk into the den confident. They're taking on a team that most people believe they can beat. Kirk Herbstreit took the Coyotes to win this ball game. They've just got to play hard-nosed. They got to focus. They got to be ready to go this week. They can't allow Georgia State to get in their head, and they can't allow the 3-0 start, the 0-3 start, to really take hold of this season. As I stated at the beginning of this program, they could be 3-0 just as much as they are 0-3. They just need one big win to get things going their way. And I would not at all be surprised to see that win come in the way of Georgia State. Now, a big thing to watch this week, and we will definitely be keeping an eye on it, is the matchup of Richard Cruz, the number one cornerback here at Sanford, taking on Penny Hart, one of the top receivers in the nation, if you ask me. So it's going to be a fun matchup to watch there with the Georgia State game, and it's going to be interesting to see if this lesser competition, and I use quotes there, that they're up against, if they're going to be able to tackle it, or if the 0-3 start is going to be too much of a hindrance to this team. And of course, for a lot of other people, it's going to be a lot of minds going straight to Parker Dillon and his interception issue that he's had all season long. And if that continues, I'm sure we're going to hear even more calls for freshman Tanner Patrick. And at that point, I don't see Coach Wolf really questioning it and really pulling the trigger on the freshmen, seeing if number 7 can get the job done and number 3 can't. However, if you ask me, I think Dillon's done a fairly good job this year. He's thrown well. Yes, the interceptions have been an issue, but they've been able to fight back from it with the offense. So that's the one plus. Another key thing to keep in mind, of course, is this defense has to play better than they did last week against West Virginia. That was one of the biggest issues looking at last week. So we will see you this Saturday as the Coyotes take on Georgia State in a big matchup before conference play. You've been listening to Sanford Sports Radio. I'm Jonathan West, and I'll see you then. Hello, Sanford, and welcome to the Sanford City Stadium as we are in the den here this week for some more Coyotes football. You're listening to Sanford Sports Radio, and it is a must-win game if you ask me this week. Coyotes versus Panthers as Georgia State is the number 3 pass offense compared to Sanford's number 2. So this ought to be an interesting air battle this week, more than likely. But I talked about it earlier this week in the Howler. This team's got to stay focused. They have to play hard. They have to know what they need to do. They have to, as of course it's been from all last season on, hashtag defend the den. They've got to defend their home turf here this week after not being able to 2 weeks ago. It is a big situation at hand right here. You get a big win before conference play, you get a big momentum boost going into a big game against Toledo next week here at home. So they have to focus, they have to realize what works and what doesn't, and they've got to pick apart the weak points of this Georgia State team. So the fans here are ready to go, and it looks like the players getting ready to head out to the middle of the field. We get set to go here as Tracy Weaver kicks us away. This game is off, folks, as Taz Bateman, the man who returns this one. As Bateman takes it up to about the 25 yard line, or I'm sorry, 30 yard line there. And of course, I talked about this man in the Howler, Penny Hart, the number 1 wide receiver here on this team. He's one of the best receivers in the nation. Richard Cruz has got a tough test in front of him. As 1st and 10 here under center's Cooper Manning. Play action quickly. He finds Technip. Sorry about that. Bill Technip, the tight end, as a quick throw to his big tight end as Manning now holds the school passing yard record for a career. Congratulations to this young man, as I'm sure he's going to be breaking a lot of records now this year, with that just being one of them. As 2nd and 4, handoff goes to Glenn Smith, but that's Deshaun Hollis, the big freshman, not going to allow him to go anywhere. 3rd and 6 now, shotgun formation as Cooper Manning looks to throw. He connects with Glenn Smith, and Smith able to get away from one man. That was Turner, and Jason Turner couldn't bring him down, so it gives him a 1st down with that gain of 11. 1st and 10 here as Manning looks to throw. He's going to go to the screen for Glenn Smith. He's brought down, though, Ronnie Hansen, the first man who got there. And that'll be a loss of about 1 yard for Smith. 2nd and 11 now is Manning under center. Man in motion is, I believe, Technip. But across the middle they go, Mattavis Scott. And that was a nice slant pattern. He was in some coverage, so a good catch on his part. That's an 18-yard reception and a 1st down. As this defense has to get themselves set up, and that's a good way to do it as Glenn Smith loses 3 as Ronnie Hansen was all over that run. 2nd and 13 now out of the I form, they go play action. As that throw is not caught, as Ari Wirtz, I believe, was the intended target. 3rd and 13 now for this defense to try and stop this GSU offense. Georgia State goes to the air for Manning, and Manning finds Penny Hart. Cruz got his head turned around. If he had it the right way, that's a big play in my opinion. But a big catch by Penny Hart. As 1st and goal, handoff goes to Glenn Smith, and that's going to only be 1 yard there, as that was, I believe, Turner that brought him down. 2nd and goal now, and the shotgun are the Panthers. Handoff goes to Glenn Smith, and down he goes quick. Elliott Flowers all over it. He was not going to be stopped there at all. 3rd and goal now, as they're going through the air, is Manning towards the back of the end zone, and somehow Todd Boyd keeps a foot in bounds. They're going to call that a touchdown. Can we get another look at that one? As I'm being told, Cooper Manning has just broken the school career passing touchdown record. Congrats to him. But a hell of a play by that Georgia State offense, as now Sanford gets a chance to attack. It's 7-0 early. Claude Fleming with a 6-yard gain there. That's a solid start to this ground game. I've talked about before this season, they've got to be very balanced. As Dillon now to throw. He's rolling out. He connects with Antoine Bradford, though, his fullback, and that's going to be a gain of 6. Good play overall there. As 1st and 10, Dillon under center. He's going to drop back. They still want to throw here. Over the middle. That is a name you aren't familiar with, folks, probably at home. That is J.P. Mayo. The man wears number 60, but no, he is no offensive lineman. He is a tight end, and that is his first catch of his career here at Sanford. Good catch by the big tight end. 1st and 10 now. Handoff goes to Fleming. He's got room to run, and he powers over a Panther. That's an 11-yard gain. Good run from Claude Fleming there. This offense is driving early here. This is much better to see than what we've seen most of the time, as an errant throw there goes out of bounds, intended for Herb Fellows. 2nd and 10 here is Dillon out of the shotgun. Checks down to Claude Fleming in the flats. He's got plenty of room, and that's going to be a nice gain of 9. Fleming with a nice run there. As 3rd and 1. Handoff goes to Fleming, and he's got more than enough for the first. They'll say 3 yards total. That is a big first down for Sanford as they are nearing the red zone. 1st and 10 here as Dillon goes down, loses the football. That's picked up by Kelly, the defensive lineman for Georgia State. That is a big, big mistake there. The defense now has to come back and rectify that mistake by the offense. As Ari Wirtz gets a 2-yard gain there for Georgia State. 2nd and 8 now. Under center is Manning in the offset I form as Manning drops back. He connects with Ari Wirtz on the drag route, and that's going to be a gain of about 7. They're saying close to 8. They'll give him inches to the marker. 3rd and just about inches to go. The pitch goes out to Glenn Smith. He's caught, but gets that ball. No! They'll say he's short. Thank you, refs. As the Panthers decide to punt, now it's back to offense for Sanford, but that 4-yard loss for Claude Fleming is not going to help on that screen pattern. 2nd and 14 is Dillon to throw. Over the middle, finds Harrison Frazier. That's a 22-yard reception. Big play there as that'll take us to the end of the first. Sanford's down 7-0 as it's been a tight game so far. You're listening to Sanford Sports Radio. Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to the Sanford Sports Radio. It is 7-0 here at the start of the second as Dingle making the play. Sanford down. 13-yard catch there for Tremaine Dingle. A nice spin move there at the end to make sure he got that first. 1st and 10 here. Play action on the minds of Sanford, but down goes Dillon. He doesn't lose the ball this time as he loses 10 yards on the other hand. 2nd and 20. Dillon to throw. He's going deep. That is Deron Costello. The big tight end, 35 yards and a big first down. As that is a huge, huge play. Just showing that deep threat ability of Costello, able to hang on and get the big play from this offense into the red zone. As 1st and 10, they go option, but down goes Dillon. And he loses 4 yards on that one. Should have just handed the ball off. That would have been a much smarter decision. 2nd and 14 out of the full house. They go to the ground game for Nigel McTaggart. The backup back gets 4 yards on that carry. That'll bring up a 3rd and 10. It's like they never did anything to start. As Dillon to throw. He connects with Rob Thomas. Big first down. The welcome party for Rob Thomas was last week against West Virginia, if you ask me. So now we'll see more of him, probably in a big play potential. As 1st and goal, Dillon rolls out. Unable to get rid of the ball as he is dragged down by the ankles. That's Martavius Allen with the sack. As 2nd and goal here, Dillon to the end zone. Misses his target intended for Herb Fellows. That might have been a godsend right there. He was covered well. 3rd and goal for Parker Dillon as he connects with Fleming on the screen, but he's still going to lose a yard. Did not have a lot of room to run. These screens have been blocked well. Sanford put up a field goal as it's Georgia State 7, Sanford 3, as the Panthers look to get back on offense as a throwaway there by Connor Manning. Pressure was coming in quick. 2nd and 10 now as Manning under center. He's going to drop back. Rolling out off the back foot. That's intercepted. Jason Turner, the young safety with the pick, and takes it into the red zone down to around the 18. That was a lovely interception, and I think every Sanford fan in this stadium's got to be thanking Connor Manning for throwing that off his back foot. Horrendous throw. Good pick. As 1st and 10 now for Sanford's offense as Dillon to throw, connects with Rob Thomas. The freshman making some more big plays as a 14-yard gain down to around the 4. 1st and goal, handoff goes to Fleming as he goes down to around the 2-yard line. Can't find a lot of room there. 2nd and goal now is under center is Dillon there, and their goal line set, and they're going to play action. Dillon to throw on the run, connects. That's the 3rd tight end, Clarence Ware. So we've seen all 3 tight ends get some time today. We've seen J.P. Mayo, we've seen Clarence Ware, and we've seen Duron Costello. What a tight end showing today. Clarence Ware with his first catch and touchdown reception in his college career. 1st and 10 now for GSU as they are now looking at a 3-point deficit. As that is a 4-yard gain for Penny Hart. He was covered well by Richard Cruz to not allow anything else to come out of that. 2nd and 6 under center is Manning as a man in motion. Looks like Ari Warts. As Manning dropping back, he's going to connect with Warts there as he fights through the tackle Richard Cruz. That's going to be a 9-yard gain and enough for a 1st down for the Panthers. 1st and 10 here for Georgia State. Under center is Manning. Man behind him is Glenn Smith as that's who he pitches the ball out to, but Smith is corralled quickly. That's Trey Galloway, the outside linebacker. We haven't called his name a lot this year so far. The senior making the big play as it's 2nd and 13. Man in motion was Warts again as Manning throws and finds Boyd open in the middle of the field. That's a 21-yard gain. He's taken down by Ronnie Hansen. But a hell of a play there for him as he just gets enough separation from Hansen. Hansen has to pull him down by the legs. 1st and 10 here in the shotgun. Manning takes the snap, looks to throw, connects with Ari Warts over the middle. And mother of God, what a shot that was. Jason Turner not pulling any punches. That'll be enough for the 1st though. 1st and 10 here for Georgia State. Manning looks to throw over the middle and nearly intercepted. Trey Galloway had his big mitts on it. That should have been a pick right there. 2nd and 10 here now is Manning in the shotgun with a big defensive line looking him down. They go to the running game for Glenn Smith as he's brought down initially by Townsend. Had some help there. 3rd and 9 here and a big play for Georgia State as Manning drops back. He connects with Penny Hart and he's dragged down. Heath Haley, almost not the smartest plays. That was almost a horse collar. But they're going to bring out the offense on 4th and 1. Do the Panthers as they are under center in the offset eye. And look at this, folks. There's some mistakes going on. That's a false start for Georgia State. They'll have to move back 5 now. They keep the offense out there, though, as Georgia State looking to make a big play happen. Manning to throw, and he connects with Smith, but Smith can't hold on. That's a turnover on downs. 32 seconds left in this half here as Dillon looks to throw. He's going deep. And that one, I'm not sure if that was intended exactly for Tremaine Dingle, but intercepted nonetheless. That's Kendrick Grady, the man on the interception, the free safety. As that is a big play there for the Georgia State Panthers. They won't have a lot of time left on the clock, only 25 seconds. 1st and 10 here as Ari Warts, the man in motion for Georgia State. He's going to the slot now as Manning to throw. He's trying to find a place to run. There's nowhere to go. Down he goes. Elliott Flowers, the man on the sack. 2nd and 12 here. Manning looks to throw again to the sideline. Finds Warts this time. That is a 7-yard gain. 3rd and 5 with 16 seconds. You got to think they're going long. No, they go to the screen as Glenn Smith is wrapped up easily. And Coach Wolf just took a timeout. 3 seconds here left in this half. Dillon just throws it. Finds Frazier, but Frazier can't hold on. That'll take us to halftime here, folks, as Sanford is now taking the lead. It's 10-7, and they have been looking pretty solid so far today. Good start. You're listening to Sanford Sports Radio. The second half is up next. Welcome back to the Sanford Sports Radio, folks. I'm Jonathan West, your man on the call. It's 10-7. Sanford on top as the third quarter has just begun, and that is a drop there by Rob Thomas, who couldn't hang on as the ball got hit out. 2nd and 10, Dillon to pitch out to Fleming, and Fleming is corralled quickly. A loss of 2 there for the young running back. 3rd and 12 here, Dillon to throw now out of shotgun. And he finds his man Frazier. That's Harrison Frazier, an 8-yard gain. Not enough, though, for the first. They're going to have to punt this one away. 1st and 10 now for Georgia State as they're back on offense. Man in motion is another Smith. That's Smith, the fullback, as Glenn Smith, the running back, takes off for a gain of 7. A solid gain there for Smith. Hasn't had a good day on the ground. 2nd and 3. This defensive line looks hungry as they are bringing the blitz here, and Smith goes nowhere on that carry as he is corralled quickly. A loss of 2 as a number of defenders were on him. Deshaun Hollis, the man who's going to get credited for the tackle. 3rd and 5 is Hart, the man in motion this time. Manning looking to the flats for Glenn Smith, and that's Jason Turner that drags him down just short of the marker. That means a GSU punt upcoming here. As the boot is away, Lewis McMahon given a chance to return as he muffs it, and that thing went back into the red zone pretty much. Well, I'm sorry, not to the red zone, but back inside the 20 as that went out and around the 18. They lost about 12 yards. As Dillon to throw now after the mistake by Lewis McMahon. It's another loss here, a loss of 3 as they continue to try and work that screen, and it just has not been working at all today. They've been losing yards left and right on those screen plays. They got to fix that quickly. 2nd and 13 is Dillon in the shotgun. Looks to throw to the sidelines. He can't connect with Tremaine Dingle as that is out of bounds. 3rd and 13 now in the shotgun. Dillon to throw. He hooks up with Dingle this time, but not enough for the first as he's out of bounds after a gain of 9. 1st and 10 for GSU following the Sanford punt. That's a good play to Ari Wirtz as an 8-yard reception. 2nd and 2 now as under center goes Manning. As a quick snap there to Mattavius Scott, and Scott fighting for that 2 yards and a first down. 1st and goal here as they go back to the ground game for Smith, as Glenn Smith is wrapped up quickly. A gain of 2 as a number of linemen on top of him. 2nd and 8, and it looks like pressure's going to be incoming as a quick throw there for Scott. He's dragged down by Deshaun Hollis. Hollis having a nice day today. Gain of about 4 there on that catch. 3rd and 4 now under center's Manning. He's going to drop back out of the I form, and he's going to be dragged down, and that is the first sack in the Sanford career of young freshman Joe Irvin. Arguably the biggest recruit to come here to Sanford in the first year of recruiting, and it's great to see him get his first sack in such a big way. As the punt back to Sanford now, and it is 1st and 10 for the Coyotes. Is a nice completion there to Claude Fleming. I guess that's one way to get Fleming involved in the passing game without the screens. As Dillon hands off to Fleming again here on 1st and 10. That's a gain of 8. A solid carry for Fleming as his day has been solid on the ground. Not a lot of running compared to what we're used to. As 2nd and 2 now, Fleming tries to find the outside, can't do so. He'll lose one as Martavis Allen on top of things. 3rd and 3 as the third quarter is coming to a close soon. There's Rob Thomas again, folks. You're hearing his name a ton these past couple weeks. As another big first down for the young freshman. That is another big first down, and that will put them in Panthers territory. 1st and 10 here from around the 47, or I'm sorry, the 37, as McTaggart takes the carry, and he'll get a 7-yard gain. That's going to put him at around the 30. As 2nd and 3 here, handoff goes back to Claude Fleming, the number 1 guy carrying that rock, as that's a big 12-yard gain as he went around that left side. Solid carry from Fleming. He has had a good day on the ground, and he has looked poised when carrying that football. It's 1st and 10 in the last play here we're going to see in the 3rd, as Dylan to throw connects with Herb Fellows. Hell of a catch, as that is an 11-yard gain for Fellows. His first catch of the day, if you believe me. So that takes us to the end of the 3rd. 10-7 Sanford on top. You're listening to Sanford Sports Radio. The 4th quarter will be here in just a bit. Welcome back to the Sanford Sports Radio, folks. I'm Jonathan West. We're in the final quarter of play as it's 10-7 Sanford, and Rob Thomas just dropped a surefire touchdown in the back of the end zone. That's going to bring up 2nd and goal now after that drop. They go play action. Dylan looks to throw, connects with Costello, but he can't hang on. That's another drop of what might have been a surefire touchdown. As 3rd and goal now. Dylan to throw. He's rolling out right. Taking off, and he is dropped at the 1-yard line. 6-yard gain from Dylan. At least he didn't fumble that time, as the offense is still out on 4th and goal. Dylan to throw to Fleming with a pitch. Or I'm sorry, he pitched it out to Fleming and gets no yards on that carry. That's going to be a turnover on downs. GSU has it at the 1-yard line. As the handoff goes to Smith, the fullback. He's brought down, but a little bit high. Elliott Flowers going to get called for that face mask with ease there. That's going to give them an extra 15 and a big first down for Georgia State here. They're out of trouble territory as Penny Hart, the man in motion, Manning to throw. And he connects with Hart as he goes down after avoiding Richard Cruz. That'll be a gain of 9. 2nd and 1 now is under center is Manning. Manning looking to make a big play here. Maybe hands off to Glenn Smith, though, as Smith gets just enough there, Sam, for the first. I could argue that fact, but hey, I'm not a referee. 1st and 10, Manning hands off to Glenn Smith, and he is stopped quickly. That's Jason Turner on the tackle. The young safety has been playing his heart out this season. 2nd and 10 is Hollis trying to get some pressure from that right side. Or I'm sorry, the left side at his right end spot. But a big play there by the defense is the drop there from Boyd. 3rd and 10 is Manning over the middle. Can't connect with his intended target, Penny Hart. That means that they're going to have to punt. Great field position for Sanford here as they nearly have it at midfield as the check down there to Deron Costello. That's a 7-yard gain and into Panther territory. 2nd and 3 is Dylan going play action here. He's going deep. That's Dingle with the catch. He avoids a tackle. The young speedster's in the end zone. 46-yard touchdown. And my God, what a play. They're showing a slow-mo replay here in the stadium. And I'm taking a glance up at the big Titantron watching this one. This is just amazing. The catch from Dingle. And he literally just went under the arm of the defender. And from then on, it's all Tremaine Dingle. He's just got that speed. What a play by the young man. The sophomore looking very good today. 1st and 10 here, as after that big play, this defense has to be pumped up as Ari Wards gets 12 on that reception, enough for a first. 1st and 10 here, Manning to throw. And some pressure was coming in as Smith, I think, heard footsteps behind him, couldn't hang on to the football. As 2nd and 10 here, Manning connects with Boyd again as Boyd gets enough for the first. That's a 12-yard gain. 1st and 10 in the offset I formation. Manning looks to throw. Pressure was coming. He checks it down to Glenn Smith. That's going to be a loss of 3 as Trey McLaughlin was on Glenn Smith perfectly. 2nd and 13. Handoff goes to Smith again as Smith gets 7 yards on that carry. He'll bring up a more manageable 3rd and 6 here. Under center is Cooper Manning. Connor Manning. I am running out of names here to go with as Todd Boyd with a 10-yard reception there for Manning. And I apologize for Connor Manning. Cooper Manning, a much more famous Manning, never played football. 1st and 10 is Manning to throw. Connects with Tavis Scott, but he's brought down quickly. Richard Cruz on top of that, putting all that back into cruise control. As 2nd and 10 here. Manning dropping back. Hollis goes into coverage as that's a nice catch by Penny Hart. Nice sideline catch. That would have been legal in the NFL. As 1st and 10 after this no huddle, that they have begun running now. Glenn Smith with a 5-yard gain as he's tackled by Heath Haley. 2nd and 5 now. As Manning, the man under center, he hands off to Taz Bateman, and Bateman goes down. Hollis and McPherson, the 2 men there to bring him down after that gain of 1. 3rd and 4, 2.5 left in this ball game. As that's going to be a false start penalty for Georgia State. Move them back 5 more yards. It's 3rd and 9, still 2-possession game, 17-7. Sanford on top as Manning to throw, checks down to Glenn Smith. That won't be good enough for the first, as that's only a gain of 4. 4th and 5 upcoming, and as anticipated, that offense is still in the field. As Manning dropping back. He hooked up with Boyd. Boyd with room as Richard Cruz brings him down at the 5. That's a 15-yard gain, and enough for the first. 1st and goal, and we got less than 2 minutes left in this ball game. Manning connects with Boyd again. Todd Boyd gets them in the end zone. That means that it is a 1-possession game. Even more so, a field goal separates these 2 teams right now on the scoreboard as a big play by Todd Boyd there on that slant pattern. The onside kick and determine possibly the end of this ball game as it's recovered by who else? Rob Thomas. No return on that, but that doesn't matter because the ball is in Sanford's possession. All they really could use is 1 big first down. The handoff goes to Claude Fleming. A nice gain of 5 as there's the timeout from the Panthers. 2nd and 5 now. They go to the option here for Dillon. And Dillon fights his way to the first. They got 1 timeout left to GSU and a whole new set of downs for Sanford. They're still in the I form here as Dillon hands off to Fleming. Fleming gets only 3 yards as the final timeout has been taken. 1st down seals the deal here as they go option. Good blocking up front. That is a 1st down and more as Parker Dillon slides. That, folks, is game. It's finally come here in season 2 of this young program. The 2nd season in existence. Their first win comes in week 5. That's a long time to wait for a first victory of the season. But hey, it's here. It came at home. These fans are ecstatic about it. That's great to see. And what's even bigger is this is going to be huge momentum going into next week's start of the MAC Conference. They take on Toledo next week here at home in Sanford. But they will be having that open practice this week. So fans, make sure you're there. Make sure you're ready for the live edition of the Howl as we see what I consider the play of the game from Jermaine Dingle on the highlight package they're showing in the stadium as an amazing catch there. But make sure you're there for the live edition of the Howler coming this week. It's going to be big. A lot of questions to talk about. And I'm wondering if there's going to be as many calls for Tanner Patrick after a very good game by Parker Dillon this week. I've been Jonathan West. You've been listening to Sanford Sports Radio. Once again, your final 17-10. Sanford goes over the Panthers. Big win for them. We will see you folks next week. Live practice.